Wins. Fatality.
Good evening, folks. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics News Flash. Is Nader Sayegh looking to become mayor this coming election? Is he and his minions secretly attacking the Spanos? And another one bites the dust. Another city employee sent to the shrink out in Hartsdale in an attempt to get him fired from his job. How you doing, folks? Good evening. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Today, I've been dealing with a bunch of text messages from some anonymous individual, and they're saying all kinds of things, threatening me, and even saying that my kids are not mine. I'm not the father of my kids. Yeah, okay. Well, does that mean I don't have to pay any money anymore? Child support or anything? Right? Did I save money? Anyway, folks, I want to talk about Nader Sayegh. Is he secretly and working along with his minions to attack the Spanos? I'm wondering if one of these exposing Yonkers pages, right, political corruption pages, is actually individuals working on behalf of Nader Sayegh. Here's an opportunity, a big opportunity. Nader is an assemblyman that only represents Yonkers, so his voters are in Yonkers. Same voters that would be voting for the Yonkers mayor. He gets high numbers. He does well. Has a good voter block or a voting base. And the mayor seems to be having a lot of trouble. Lawsuits, a lot of pages exposing Yonkers, including Basement Politics, that's been talking about the mayor and the connections to Empire Strategic Planning, his brother's lobbying firm. So is Nader Sayegh seeing an opportunity to become mayor? I mean, he can't wait another 4 years. He's going to be too old by that time. The developers would all have done their business and the money would be dry up. So Zehy Jereis, who's behind Nader Sayegh, sees an opportunity to come out of the shadows of Nick Spano and maybe start his own lobbying company. And he can make the money for the last few years, because I'm hearing that the money is made in the approvals. The elected officials make their money by approving projects, not by having them built, not by the rent roll that's generated from these luxury rentals, but by the approvals, getting the projects approved, getting zoning laws to change, getting city property to be sold off to a particular developer. And so Mayor Spano, as you know, is going to be running, if he's allowed to by the courts, for a fourth term, another 4 years. And many people are saying it's because there's a few more projects that need to be approved. There's some money left to be made. But after these 4 years, they're going to go off and enjoy the money. So is Mr. Zehy Jereis, the man behind Nader Sayegh, saying, hey, wait a minute, we got to get in there, and here's an opportunity. There's a lot of these pages that are coming out exposing political corruption here in Yonkers. Only one of them shows you their face. That's Basement Politics. The other ones are anonymous, and understandably so. Who wants to be attacked like me? Who wants to get text messages like the ones I've been receiving today from some mysterious individual who will not identify himself, but knows me very well, apparently? Fredo, you will pay for your lies. Everything you do makes zero impact on your agenda. You will lose and continue to cry about the same thing for the next 20 years. I don't think so. I won't be here for the next 20 years. Down syndrome must be kicking your ass. And, it kind of should be, upsetting to some people how they just use these terms, mentally ill, mentally disabled. I've even heard the R word. I don't want to say it. Down syndrome. There are people who are actually, who have these conditions. And it's not a joke. It's not funny. People who have, children with special needs. And they just throw that stuff out there. They're very disgusting. And even in one of the text messages, they basically say what they, how they really feel. Fredo, the people who follow you are broke bums who wants free money and food. They have nothing better to do. No jobs, living on welfare and Section 8. What do they need change for? What do they need change for? Extra free minutes on their welfare phone? Wake up and lay off the chorizo? Know what that is? And so these are individuals that represent, that work on behalf of the elected officials who I'm speaking about, because why else would they be doing this? Who else would be messaging me like this? I speak about elected officials, right? And those associated with them. I don't just pick random people who live in Yonkers, business people that have no connection to politics, and I speak about them. No, I've been speaking about the Zehy Jereises, Nader Sayeghs, and especially recently with the rerun of the Sayegh crime family. I would imagine this is why I'm getting these text messages. And people who are in the know say this is the hallmark signs of people like Frankie Jereis, Jeffrey Sayegh, and Joseph Sayegh. Joseph Sayegh, who himself, I hear, is truly clinically diagnosed with a, mental health illness. And yet still he's, doing this. And people have caught them. I have caught Frankie Jereis as an administrator for the Yonkers Newswire, a page that has been attacking me for a year now, saying some of the most disgusting things. But this is how they truly feel about people here in the city of Yonkers. And this is what I want to make the point, that this is individuals who are tied to the people that I speak about. And so are these the conversations they have amongst themselves, the elite, the upper echelon of society, right? The political elite here, those who are in the circle, the gatekeepers, right? Is that how they feel about people? And I've mentioned this. I believe there's an active agenda to push people out of Yonkers, a certain group of people, whether it be race or class. They're being pushed out. And that's what the whole lottery at Macy was about, getting certain people out and being more picky about who they bring back in, right? So talks about the podcast, just like that silly podcast, but obviously it bothers these individuals. And so they come and attack me. They've called CPS on me twice. And they've been creating fake page after fake page, follow me from Facebook to Nextdoor app, to my cell phone, my office, and they just don't stop. But I can be just as relentless, right? And I'm going to continue also. But I want to show you. I want to show you. They talk about my wife, right? Not everyone deserves a home. I don't know what they're saying here. They should allow people who want to live free, ruin beautiful developments, while others who work hard have to pay a ton of money for rent. They just do not want to work. They feel like they are entitled. Newsflash, go get a job and build. And so who are they referring to here, right? Because I'm talking about change, creating change, making Yonkers, a place where everyone has an opportunity. Not just certain people because they are related to certain individuals or because they're pals, and then they leave the rest of us to fight each other, divided over the few crumbs that they allow us to have, especially in the Latino community. I've been hearing lately some, issues between Latino women when, not both of them. I think it's just one of them who seems to have this, idea that no one else can be where she sits on the, in her position aside Nick Spano. And so if anyone else, dares, come on up, move on up, she's going to start to go after them, And I hear Eleanor Spanos taking a liking to one of the Latina, members of our community here and has been helping her progress. But the, other Latina gatekeeper, the self-proclaimed gatekeeper, does not like that and has been complaining to Mr. Nick Spano. And some have said, Freddy, maybe even these are the individuals that are trying to keep you down because you're Latino. and they don't want anyone to do anything for you. I don't know, but that's just what I'm hearing, word on the street. But we have to stop that. We have to stop that division, that fighting among each other, especially in the Latino community, the Hispanic community, because we are 43%. But they don't have any real, respect for us. They don't vote. Many of them can't vote. They're not documented, and we don't care about them. Even the Democrats and those that are saying that they're for the people have recently, discriminated against a group of Hispanics because they were not registered to vote. They cannot register because of their legal status. But guess what? Soon they will be, as they will be becoming legal citizens very soon, I hear. Some congratulations to you. Well deserving. So these are the things that I deal with, I've been dealing with all day. And I'm wondering, who are these individuals? And is it the individuals that people have said to me? It could be Nader Sage's minions, the Jeffrey Sages, the Joe Sages, and even the Frankie Jereis, son of Nader. I'm sorry, of Zehy Jereis. And then I started to think about this page, Let's Get Political. And if you're listening, Let's Get Political, I've wondered about you. I see that you go after the Spanos very hard, very, very hard, but no one else, really. The council, yes, but the Spanos so hard. And I wonder, could that be a page that was actually created by Zehy Jereis and his minions? He can do it now as there are other pages, Basement Politics and others. People are talking more about the political corruption, so he could easily disguise himself as just someone in the community who wants to talk about the corruption, but doesn't want to, reveal who they are. Attack the Spanos. Maybe Nader Sage could be the next mayor. And now there's a lawsuit. And will this lawsuit, will there be an injunction to stop Mayor Spano from running for a mayor next year? So that would be big. Nader Sage would just freaking probably erupt with happiness and joy, because he know that he's probably the only other person that they would go to, the Democratic Party would go to endorse if Mike Spano cannot run. And then I start thinking about all the information that was given to me about certain individuals. And then I started to think, is that why I was given information about Rubo? Make him look bad. So he's not a contender if Mike Spano could not run for one reason or another. But I don't see why Vinny would have an issue with Wilson Kimball, who said would be running and had raised $150,000. He didn't seem to like her very much. Called her a B every time her name was brought up. Don't know why. You guys deal with that. But again, so is Zehy Jereis seeing an opportunity here now, and even more so with this lawsuit and everything that's been coming out about the Spanos and Freddy Vazquez with Basement Politics? And is he attacking me, not only to get me back for the podcast I've done about him and the Sage family, but also to encourage me or motivate me to speak out even more against the Spanos? I don't know. Just a thought that I was having, but it would be a very interesting thing, right? Interesting, because again, Nader Sayegh has always wanted to be mayor. And in fact, many thought that he would be the guy that would be tapped next to be mayor. And then I heard about deals that were made, and that he instead would become superintendent. And then I started to see articles about Dr. Quesada, negative articles about Dr. Quesada. One of them was saying how he didn't care about the safety of the kids. Mayor Spano wanted a safety review or audit, and he would refuse to do that. But why would Dr. Quesada refuse to focus on the safety of our students? Does he not care? I didn't think so. To me, it was all about creating a narrative against Dr. Quesada. And even Vinny Spano himself, he would text me and tell me things negatively, negative things about Dr. Quesada, and even blamed him for the reason why I only got 3 kids assigned to my UPK program as opposed to the 21. And there were other things that, had happened at the schools, I should say, when I was denied going to Roosevelt to speak to the kids when a teacher had asked me to do that. And he, and I told him, I said, Vinny, that's messed up. This is what I want to do, man. I love, working with young people, and this is my goal ultimately. And why was I denied? Yet and still they allowed Ruros, a known, sexual offender, had child pornography into the schools. They didn't deny him, but they denied me. And he blamed Dr. Quesada. And another gentleman recently reached out to me in regards to an idea he had that involved opening up some of the schools, the gyms, for kids to go in at night and play basketball. And that was denied. And he was told it was because of Dr. Quesada. So, they're trying to make him look bad and make, maybe Nader Sayegh become superintendent, which is a great job, good pay, excellent pay, doesn't have to travel to Albany anymore. And he helps Mayor Spanos win, right? Pushes his voter base over to Spanos so that way he can ensure his victory in the fourth term. All of the things may have revealed them to be sharks. They are smelling blood in the water. They definitely are sharks, and they're not to be trusted at all. I mean, they are constantly seeing an opportunity to throw each other on the bus, and they will if it suits their purpose, right? If it works to their advantage. All the relationships you see there are relationships out of, benefit. They're not real. I mean, why would Vinny Spano tell me about Tasha Diaz assaulting her stepdad? I mean, that's a crime. If the city clerk knows about it, why was she not arrested? Why was that not investigated? He told me about it. He sent me to her building that day, and I went and asked a question, and I didn't stalk her. But I want to move on. It's just an interesting thought. Is that what's happening here? Is there another page? Let's Get Political. Prove me wrong. But I remember one time, Let's Get Political, you made a post about me and you called me Freddy Cater. The only other time I've been called Freddy Cater was by those fake pages that have been attacking me. So I don't know if that's, a connection there. Maybe I'm wrong. And then you did send an interesting message once about wanting to meet up and asking me who were the individuals, that I think would be good to meet up in a group to organize and create an opposition against the Spanos. Were you fishing for information and to see who the people are that want to, that are opposing this, maybe secretly? So, you got to watch everything. This is politics. I mean, the most, corrupt, just the whole thing of it itself is corrupt. You know what I mean? Just politics is nasty, backstabbing, there's no loyalty. I mean, I love business so much more. When you're business, at least you understand. And even there's still a level of respect and dignity and integrity in business. And when you do work with individuals that, display behavior like many of our elected officials, you just don't do business with them anymore, right? That's it. These are our politicians. They're supposed to help people. They're supposed to do the right thing. And they're oftentimes doing the wrong thing, right? And you can't be trusted. They cannot be trusted. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Zehy Jereis is looking to make a move. I mean, he doesn't have much time. And once the Spanos are gone, he's done. And so he has to make a move this election. And so that is something. And I told Vinny about that, but I don't know. I told Vinny. But anyway, folks, really quick, before I get on, I'm going to have Anthony DiMaggio. Anthony DiMaggio, former Yonkers police lieutenant who was sent to the shrink. Another one bites the dust. According to Anthony DiMaggio, another city employee, DPW employee, was sent to see the shrink over in Hartsdale. What's the shrink? The shrink is a psychologist or a psychiatrist, I should say, that has a contract with the city of Yonkers. They are located over in Hartsdale. And whenever they want to fire someone, it seems, they send them to see this shrink. The shrink then writes up a report that justifies their termination. Lately, it seems like individuals that have been getting sent to the shrink are people that have information that they don't want out. 2 actually employees, DPW employees, were sent to the shrink. One of them recently went and failed. Why was he sent to the shrink? Well, according to the information I got, and I've been speaking to Anthony DiMaggio, who's been, very involved in this whole corrupt, crooked shrink thing. After it happened to him, he went to go see the shrink. The individual was upset. The DPW worker was upset over rumors that were being spread by the brother of Westchester County legislator James Nolan
of all people, over at DPW. Now, these rumors were very upsetting, and they began to spread all over, and people were talking about it, and people would even bring it up and make fun of this guy at work. And so he was upset, and he went to speak to supervisors about it, and he said, listen, I don't want to get anyone fired, but this is crazy, and this has to stop. And so they sent him to go see someone at Human Resource, and he mentioned some things that maybe he should not have mentioned. He started to speak out against things that were wrong within the DPW department and in the city of Yonkers as a whole. And when they heard that, they said, this guy has to go. So they sent him to the shrink. They gave him a date, which he went to recently, and he failed. And now he's facing termination. There was another individual who it happened to because he punched, I hear, Tommy T's son, Tommy Tiedemann, son, in the face. There'd been some dispute, and this individual has information. In fact, he has not only information, but videos that show individuals, including Tommy T's son, using cocaine, individuals using drugs while on the job. And as a result, they had an issue, and he was sent to the shrink, and they got rid of him, fired with no pay. And he was suicidal. And so this man's family member told another individual, according to my sources, about his being suicidal because he no longer had a job. He wasn't getting paid anymore. They got rid of him. And word got back to DPW. And they brought him back. So the other guy's like, why are they bringing this guy back? And they're not bringing me back. He was suicidal. Maybe there is something there. I'm not suicidal. And then I started to think, yeah, why would they do that? When I'm hearing this, and I said, well, because they would hate to have a guy commit suicide after they sabotage his career. Imagine that. This guy commits suicide because they terminated him out of retaliation, sending him to a crooked shrink that has a contract with the city, a longstanding contract, and is utilized, it seems like, to justify retaliatory terminations. And that's what was done there, and he ended up killing himself. Imagine the scandal. So, folks, be careful if you work for the city. This can happen to anybody, any one of you city employees. The minute they don't want you there anymore, they want to fire you for whatever reason. You have an issue with one of the boss's sons or supervisor's sons or an elected official's family member or close friend, you know, and they don't like you now. Hey, get this guy out of here. They find a reason. Some of you get caught with the drugs, they send you to the farm, but if they don't like you, they're going to send you to the shrink. Is it worth it? Or is it not time for change? Anyone's a target. Doesn't matter if you're police, DPW, fire, schools. When you're done, you're done. And so this is happening here in the city of Yonkers with a shrink over in Hartsdale, a psychiatrist there. They are utilizing him according to sources of Anthony DiMaggio, who I've been speaking to about it. He's really digging into this. And it seems like this is what they're doing. So who else has seen this shrink and has been fired? Reach out to me, or maybe Anthony DiMaggio. We love to know. Who else may be scheduled or is scheduled recently to go see this shrink in Hartsdale? Reach out to us. We love to know. Anyway, folks, I'm Freddy Vazquez, Basement Politics. Join me in a few minutes. I'll be back on with Anthony DiMaggio, former Yonkers police lieutenant, right? Really quick, gyms should be opened up on the weekends for kids. Years ago, growing up in the Bronx, the schools were open with parents and teacher supervision, give teens something to do, play ball, socialize in a safe setting. Agreed. Yonkers needs this. How do you make this happen in all in districts for all kids? City Council should work on this legislation. And again, a gentleman by the name of Danny Sullivan wrote a letter. He actually wrote a letter to Dr. Quesada. But again, Dr. Quesada, is at the mercy of the administration. But the administration is saying it's Dr. Quesada. They want to make him look bad to the community. The mayor can do whatever he wants. He can do whatever he wants, Danny. Oh my God, that's terrible. It sure is. Utilizing the crooked shrink to fire city employees, especially if you're coming from the Amacone era, especially if you have information that could be damaging. Yo, it's time to expose it all. That's the only way you're going to be protected. Expose it, come out publicly so they know when something happens to you, you know that it's retaliatory, that they're coming at you like they're doing me with all these text messages, false CPS reports. CPS, I hope you're watching, and I hope you're paying attention to what's going on. Anthony DiMaggio was also almost, he was actually. He didn't see his daughter for a year, and he'll talk more about that when he comes on, right? Because they utilized the family court against him. That's what they do. And at the end of the day, folks, we have no help from none of the agencies. We are on our own. So if we want this to end and stop, and we want to take back Yonkers, then we have to take back Yonkers. We have to vote. Let's hope that the lawsuit is successful. But if it's not, be prepared to hit the ground. And let's go knock on doors. Join me. We all do it. This is our election. The people. Let's get it. Let's go. I'm ready. Are you? I'm Freddy Vazquez. Join me in a few minutes. I'll be back on with Anthony DiMaggio.
Freddy.
I'll be back. Anthony DiMaggio will join me. Police lieutenant. 15 years on the job, and they got rid of him using the crooked shrinks. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Folks, it's time to wake up, Yonkers. You're either going to get fired with a crooked shrink or you're going to get pushed out because of the luxury developments. They're helping all these developers survive, but the small businesses are getting pushed out. It's not cool that they spend millions of dollars. And by the way, did you guys know that there is a medical marijuana facility? It's been there for a while above Zupa. Some people have said that the Spanos own that medical marijuana place right above Zupa's. Master leaseholders, haha.